I got to do an interview that was really, really cool. I just want to give one more thanks to Julie Strawbridge, aka Internet Jules on YouTube. And we had a great interview. I'm working on, I have it recorded and everything, so I'm working on that and getting it up on my YouTube channel. By the way, if you would like, you can find all content that I do through this show and a few extra things that are in the works right now on my YouTube channel. It's called On the Noise. So you can find the interview there. If you missed it or if you missed any of it, you will be able to find it soon, I promise. I just got to work out getting the video and audio and everything. But it was a lot of fun. And in that interview, we actually talked about YouTubers' music. Julie, she makes her own music. And she also recently, her most recent video is about YouTubers who make music and which ones are actually good. There's kind of a stigma around YouTubers making music. It's typically not the best, unfortunately. And so I decided, in honor of that, I would play YouTube. I would have a show today all about artists who either started on YouTube or who are from YouTube. And by that, I mean there are some people who are YouTubers who decide to make music later on, and there are some who started out on YouTube, like their main YouTube channel was music. And so I decided to do that, and then I realized, remember how I was talking about that most of the time the music isn't very good from YouTubers? And so I realized I don't really like any music from YouTubers. And so all of the music today is genuinely just people who started out with music on YouTube. That might be confusing. Hopefully it's not too confusing though. But basically these people went on YouTube and their YouTube channel was about music. It wasn't some random YouTube channel and then later on they were like, oh, I'm going to make music. It was all about music from the beginning. And there are a few on here. It's a little rocky. It's like, okay, yeah, they like there are a few like I think there's like 2 MySpace stars on there, but like that one of them like was also on YouTube. So I don't know. It's a little confusing. I gave a lot of leeway for this show because I realized after I had already announced that I was doing YouTuber music that there's not really that many artists out there that started from YouTube that I'm a huge fan of. However, there are a few, and Julie is going to be featured in today's show, so I'm excited about that. For y'all guys, she was so nice. I feel like me and her like got along really well. If she happens to be listening to this, hi Julie. I had a lot of fun, and I feel like me and her like could be really good friends. But it was just really cool to have an interview with someone who I had never met before. All my interviews beforehand were all friends of mine. So it was cool to have someone that was an actual interview. Okay, so to start us off for the day, it is an interesting start. It's definitely more on the pop, I guess, sort of rap as well side. So our first artist for the day is Soulja Boy. He is back in the limelight. So apparently he started out getting a lot of views on MySpace and YouTube, which is really interesting, actually. I didn't realize that because YouTube came out around 2006. I feel like I remember listening to Crank That as like a really little kid, but I'm like, I guess like 2006, I was in around first grade, and it's probably like where my memories of hearing it. But I guess like in my head, it was earlier than that, and I'm not sure. So I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. Anyway, so Soulja Boy really got his career going through MySpace and YouTube, and we're not listening to Crank That, but we are listening to a very favorite of mine, Kiss Me Through the Phone. Me and my friends in high school used to blast this song with the windows down and drive around, and it was so much fun. This song's just so good. I love it so much. And it's It's nothing. Like lyrically. Okay, Soulja Boy is a very interesting character. He just recently came out with new music, which was also very interesting. I thought he had kind of fallen off the face of the planet, but he's back. He made a Soulja Boy console, like video game console, which is really weird. Never really like. Artists don't typically do that, but I was like, okay, that's cool. But it turns out it's not really his. He just like did a knockoff of the Nintendo Switch, I think, or something. And you can like find this console on Amazon from like some weird Chinese vendor or something. And you can find it for like half the price that he's selling it for, but he's saying that he's selling it for half the price. So like the original, he's saying like the original price I think is like $400, but he's selling it for $200. So he's like, look, it's such a great deal. But then Amazon's selling it for like $100. But it's also like a complete scam because it's like, I think Nintendo even sued him or something. I don't know. It's a very weird situation. I'm like, Soulja Boy, what are you doing? And then he comes out with new music. So I'm like, why do you, if you're coming out with new music, that's actually like getting popular. I mean, I think it's more of like a meme, but still, like it is obviously getting streams. I'm like, do you really need this like scam money from this console? I don't know. Very, very weird situation. One other thing before I start the music, I just found this really interesting. I once looked up the lyrics of Kiss Me Through the Phone and on Genius, and it talked about how the 67899982212 is that was his actual phone number at the time. So he just released his phone number to the entire world, and it got like tons of hits, and of course people were calling it, and so his phone was like blowing up, and he had to get a new phone number. And I'm like, why would you put an actual phone number there? Like, why would you put your actual phone number? You know, I know like what's that other song that I think like 80 song, why can't I think of the number right now? Anyway, he like found it, you know what song I'm talking about, but he like found it on a bathroom stall, the singer did. Okay, I mean, that's one thing, but like to put your own phone number out and not think, oh, people are probably going to call this and they now have access to my phone number. Come on, Soulja Boy. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move on. And then I have another artist, probably the most famous artist to come from YouTube. I'm sure you can figure out who it is, but if not, I'm not going to say anything. You'll know when you hear it. So first, here is Kiss Me Through the Phone by Soulja Boy to start us off. All right, everyone. Yes, that was Justin Bieber, perhaps the most famous person who started out on YouTube. Everyone knows him. If you don't know him, you're living under a rock. He started out when he was just a teenager, and I actually almost put him on my show last week for teen artists, but I decided not to. And then when I decided to do YouTuber artists, I was like, oh, he fits that perfectly, because that's where he started and where he was discovered. And I remember when he first came out, and I thought it was like crazy. That was really the first artist that I remember who was only like 15. Obviously, there were younger artists before then. In the business, but that was the first one I remember being like, wow, only 15, that's insane. And I also remember everyone being like, he sounds like a girl, and I was like, I mean, he hasn't hit puberty, like, that's not really his fault. I don't know why you're, like, complaining. Anyway, so I played Boyfriend and Sorry if you did not recognize those. Boyfriend, I have not listened to that since middle school, but it was a little weird listening to it. It has been a long time, but I remembered a lot of the words. Of course, the lyric, swag, swag, swag on you, chilling by the fire while we're eating fondue. I remember saying that all the time in middle school. It was just like weird. Like, it's such a weird lyric. I did a little game with Julie on my interview Saturday, and I almost included that one because it was all about bad lyrics. The game was. And but I was like, nah, she'll get that one easy. Like, everyone knows that one. It's just like, who even thought of that? Anyway, I love that lyric though, and that song. Honestly, it is a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't have many guilty pleasures. I'm pretty confident in my music taste and everything, and I'm not really ashamed. But that one, even I will admit, I'm like, the fact that I like this song. Anyway, then next was Sorry, which is another song that I just really like. It's really catchy. Moving on, we have another pop artist who I guess also got discovered on YouTube. I think it was more like on Vine, but once again, it's like in the same realm, so I counted it. And I remember when this guy was actually on, like, it was called NBT on Disney Channel, Next Big Thing. And I think he was on it, and I don't know if he won or what, but I remember seeing him on it, and then later I like heard how big he was. I was like, oh, I remember that guy. So Shawn Mendes, if you don't know who I'm talking about, he started out on Vine, then he just kind of like kept gaining followers, and he just recently released an album. I don't really listen to Shawn Mendes, but I do know this one song, and I do like it. And then afterward, I have another artist for you. All right, guys, welcome back. You were just listening to Darren Criss. You may recognize him from Glee, or he's been in a bunch of different musicals, some other movies and TV shows. Darren Criss, so technically he did not start out on YouTube in the sense that he had a YouTube channel, but he was part of this troupe in college that made this parody musical about Harry Potter. And that musical was posted online on YouTube, and it blew up. It was going viral, and so Darren Criss, he was Harry Potter in the musical, and so he got noticed, and then he was put on Glee, which was a huge success, and so he was he just like completely blew up, and so technically, while he didn't try and start on YouTube, he was found there in a sense. So that was his song Foolish Thing, and right before that was his song Every Single Night from his band called Computer Games. I actually got to see Darren Criss and Leah Michelle over the summer with my good friend Kelly Kaufman. Shout out to you, Kelly. And it was an amazing experience. We were upset that they didn't sing Don't Stop Believin', but it's fine. They did sing a lot of other really good songs that were like, just their voices are so amazing. Leah Michelle would literally be like belting it. And there was one point she was like just belting at the end of a song, and it was insane, this insane note. And then right after, without even taking a breath, she goes, "Thank you," because everyone was clapping. And I'm like, how did she like she didn't even like take a breath or take a rest or anything. She was just like, thank you. It was nothing. It was insane to me. And so her and Darren were just really, really good. So I thought I would include him because I really like those two songs. All right. So moving on. Well, actually, before we move on, I should probably get into our news. So you guys, I'm going to try and stop doing weather as the news because I know a lot of my audience isn't even from Murfreesboro, so I guess that doesn't really make sense. But also, last semester I would do the weather and then one other news story that I would find. And typically, obviously, the other news stories were more interesting than like, hey, it's been really cold out or it's been really warm out. So I guess I thought I should start doing actual news. So today's news is Harold Bradley, a Nashville studio master, has died at 93, and he died on January 31st. And he was featured in recordings such as Brenda Lee's I'm Sorry and Patsy Cline's Crazy, and various other songs in Nashville. All right, guys, so getting back into the music, our next artist is another pretty famous one who also got started out on YouTube, Tori Kelly. I'm sure you know of her. And here are her two songs, Anyway and Unbreakable Smile. All right, guys, you were just listening to Tori Kelly. Okay, so the next artist that I have for you guys is the same one that I interviewed on Saturday, Julie Strawbridge. I just was so excited. I was like, I gotta play her music. Her album is genuinely like really good. Like I've actually been listening to it on repeat. So it's not like, it wasn't me just being like, hey, you came in for my interview. I'm just gonna be like, hey, yeah, cool music. Like I genuinely enjoyed it. So I thought I should play it for you guys because she is also on YouTube, and her whole channel, if you don't know, is basically what she does. Most of her videos are writing a blank song in under an hour. So such as writing an Ariana Grande song in under an hour, writing a Billie Eilish song in under an hour. And basically what she does, she just listens to their lyrics and their sound and then creates a song that sounds as if they would make it. And she does a really good job at it, you guys. So if you want, you can definitely check her out on YouTube. Her YouTube channel is Internet Jules. Definitely would recommend it. It is very good. And her album, Are We There Yet?, which came out last year, is seriously an amazing album that I definitely would recommend as well. So I'm going to play a couple songs from there, and once again, I am going to try and get the interview up on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is just On The Noise. If you guys want to go follow that, and to keep updated with that, you can also follow me on Instagram, pglover2447. And one more promotion for myself. I also have a podcast that I am doing with my friend Mia Taylor. It's called Whack with Patrick and Mia, and it's just about pretty much anything under the sun. And last week we talked about, it was our first show, and we talked about a new album, which I'm actually going to play some music from that album for like right after Julie's. And then we also talked about just going for it creatively, like creatively wise, just doing what you need to do. You can also find that podcast on YouTube. Just look up Whack in all caps, ! with Patrick and Mia on YouTube, and you will find it there. And we are planning to put more episodes out. So definitely, if you want, you can keep up with that. And I'm really excited for everything that's going on right now. I feel like really creative and like really fulfilled, which is really cool. Okay, so enough of me rambling. I am going to play Julie Strawbridge's music. Her first song is Notification, and then the second one will be I Don't Know If I Should. All right, guys, that was Julie Strawbridge. And like I said, I've been listening to her album. Notification is definitely my favorite song. I kept listening to that on repeat yesterday. It's just such a good song. All right, it is unfortunately time for me to go, but I have one last song for you guys. Like I said, my podcast, Whack Podcast, which you can find on YouTube, Whack with Patrick and Mia. We talked about Dodie's new album, and she also is a YouTuber, all surrounded by music, and she's really gaining popularity. I've played her on here before. I really, really enjoy her music, and this new album that she came out with definitely did not disappoint. So I'm going to play my favorite song from that album to finish us off for the day, and it is called If I'm Being Honest. Thank you guys so much for listening, and once again, you can follow me on Instagram, pglover2447, to stay updated with this show On The Noise with your host, me, DJ Patty G. And I will try and get all the recordings out on my YouTube channel, also On The Noise. And just thank you guys so much for listening. I really, really appreciate it. And I will be here at the same time next week, 12 to 1, here on WMTS. Thank you.